Welcome back to Kamisha Reviews. This is the conversation that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. I'm very excited to be with the queen, and she is my queen, Taquilla. That's my girl. I don't care what nobody says. I love her. I haven't tried to hide it. Everyone knows that. So, welcome to my show finally in
Thank
person. Don't she
you.
look cute?
It's been a long
She is
time
so little, y'all.
coming. Hey guys.
She is so little and she is so cute and so sweet, period. Okay.
Thank you.
So I want to get started with the show itself. You, to me, in my opinion, just being honest as a blogger, you have handled yourself so well because it's been like so much with you this whole entire season. I feel like they painted you in a narrative, and I'm saying this. Kamisha Reviews is saying this. They painted this queen in a narrative that was just not correct, not true. That's why I wanted to talk to her so badly because I'm about to start crying. Resonated so much in her story. So I want to go ahead and get started. First by doing the basics.
Yes.
How did you get into Ready to Love? She's cute as a button. All the men Dallas want her. She got the shape. I'm trying to figure out why she's on dating show. Period.
Thank you. First of all, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So when the casting call went out, that they were casting for Ready to Love Dallas, I've been watching the show since season 1. So my coworkers, my friends, everybody was tagging me. They was like, "You gotta apply. Like, you need to go to apply," because they know how my dating experiences has been. So I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to be on TV.
Right.
And open myself up to the world like that. But they was like, no, you can do this. You'll be good for TV. So I was like, okay. So I applied, did the application process. Took me about 4 hours because I poured my heart out into that application. Like, I wanted them to know all of my experiences, everything I've been through in my relationships, good and bad.
Right.
So I remember filling out that application on a Wednesday night. I was on my way to work Thursday morning, and I got the call. And she was like, "Hi, this is such and such from Ready to Love," and I'm like, I literally just applied last night. Took me forever, like that quick. And she was like, "Girl, you got a story to tell." I was like, "I do." She said, "You done been through it." I have.
Right.
So, she asked me a few questions and I answered them, and she was like, "I want to push you through now. Like, let's get you going." And I was like, "Okay." She was like, "It's a lengthy process," but she was like, "I just have a good feeling you're gonna be on the show." She was like, "Your personality, the way you answer questions, all of that." And I was like, "Okay." So I'm excited. I win the job. I was like, y'all told me to put up the show, and the people called me and they started screaming, and I was like, "Well, don't get excited here because we ain't on the show." 100%. It's a process. So that was in October of last year. And it was a long process, and I think I got the call February 1st that I was picked. So I was at work and I celebrated with my friends, and coworkers, and that's how I got on Ready to Love. I didn't have it. I wasn't sought out. Like, I didn't have a high social media following. I'm really not a big social media person, but for the show, I know I needed to be. So.
Right. And so we all know they do go to Instagram to recruit, as they call them. Yeah. So to hear that it's awesome because and also I like to hear that she put so much into her application. I'm not gonna lie, I have applied, especially when it came to Dallas. I probably put a sentence, probably why I wasn't picked. So for her to put her whole life into it, I think they do want that story. They do want that journey, which I do believe. That's why I say I feel like so many Dallas women can resonate with her and her story and her journey. So once you got the call and everything, I know you guys were excited and everything else, and you were a fan of the show. What was your expectation? Because a lot of casts I've talked to maybe not have watched any of the seasons or maybe 1 or 2 episodes. Since you're a fan, did you know what to expect? What I mean by that is the no eating, the heat, no makeup. That's been a thing throughout all the seasons. I've interviewed, a few of the cast members. They've all said it. So what did you expect going in?
So being a viewer, I was like, this is so cute. Like the way they go on these different dates and try to, find their person, whatever. So I didn't have any expectations. I'm like, I kind of know how the process goes just from a viewer standpoint.
Gotcha.
So when I got the call that I made it, I started ordering clothes not knowing there was a dress code, like it was certain stuff. So I had ordered a whole bunch of stuff. And I think it was like maybe a week before where they was like, yeah, you can't wear stripes, this, and I'm like, that's the majority of the clothes I bought. And like I had bought a lot of white because it was still in springtime.
Yes,
you know, trying to stay cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, shoot, at this point, I'm gonna just work with what I could throw together at the last minute. But when I got into it, when we went to the mixer when we arrived, I was like, yeah, this not how I thought it was. I was like, now being a castmate, I'm like, right, this is controlled. Interesting. This is very structured. And I'm like, this not how I thought this show was, you know, coordinated. So I think that's what initially took me by. I was like when I was in deep conversations with people, I would get pulled from those and go here, stand here, wait, and I'm like speed dating. That's what it was, and I'm like, if you're watching the show, I would have never guessed that. Because the way it looks to us is not the way it is to a viewer, and it's like this is totally different from being a castmate. So it was a lot of stuff. That's probably why they say you shouldn't watch the show before being on it. But I'm glad I did, which is it was kind of a good thing and a bad thing. A good thing because I wanted to experience the journey. Okay. I wanted to try to find my person. Right. That was your whole thing, right? Yes, I definitely wanted to come over there, come on there to see what options I had, see who I could find, and all that. But then the bad thing is, I'm just like, I felt like it was structured to where production already knew who they wanted to stay along the process and who they wanted to go. So it's like I came here with a genuine purpose. Yes. And I came being myself, true to myself. Okay. And it was like, no matter if I came to show up as my authentic self or, you know, put in the work to navigate this process, I didn't stand a chance because they didn't have me in mind to, you know, go through fully. So I felt like that was a unfair advantage. So you already know, and I've said this out loud to everybody, that I feel like that this season was really an alliance season. Alliance, and I'm just going to say this again, that people who wanted to get to the end with certain people. I feel like it's 3 friends that wanted to get to the end. No one told me this. This is me. 3 friends that want to get to the end with 3 suitors. I'll leave it at that. So anyway, I feel like, and this is a genuine thing that other people have felt like, that you were there for genuine relationship. I really, really was. And you didn't get a fair chance. So what you're saying, fans are also saying as well. They feel like you didn't get a fair opportunity. That I did it. Genuine. And then I didn't let my character on the show play out long enough because people hated me from the comments and everything. I'm like, yes. What people don't know is when I got there, as soon as I walked in, I fell. Oh God! Oh my God! I tripped over my heel. Right. Okay. I wasn't nervous or anything. Right. But as soon as I walked into the mixer, Phil actually walked up to me because when I first walked in, I saw Jessica, Chris, and Phil. Okay. And as soon as I was tripping, Phil ran up to me, and I was like, "Oh, thank God, because he's gonna be embarrassed. I hope they don't show this." Okay. So you know, that's when I got to meet Phil and talk to him, and then as I'm navigating the process, I'm sitting at the table with Kira, Brandon, Marvin. And then Habibi, as soon as Habibi walks up, I spill a whole glass of wine on my dress. Oh my God. Just everything was going on. Yes, everything, but it was funny. Okay. Like those were funny moments where I laughed. Most people would have been like, oh my gosh, you know, making a big deal out of it. Right. Not me. I was laughing. I was having a good time. So I feel like they took 2 moments where I reacted this entire season and stretched it out to be my narrative. And there were so many good moments I had on camera that they could have shown. They could have leveled me out. I'm just like, I don't think that was fair, but hey, I signed up for it. And I just didn't think they were going to do me like that. But hey, like people say, hey, you had to give them something to work with, which I did. Yes. I reacted off emotion. I own that. But also highlight my good moments. Yes, I agree. Like highlight the good times I had on camera because I definitely had more good times than those 2 crazy moments I had. Do you feel? I'm sorry, crazy because heavy on crazy. Yes, people think I'm crazy. Well, I was gonna say that about Habibi. You brought Habibi up, so you guys had a connection, and I feel like both of you guys, even though Habibi, y'all still got an unfair advantage. I feel like as far as we didn't get to see that connection more, we didn't get to see more. All we saw was you talking about him in the women's lounge, and you being kind of attacked for saying, "Okay, I like him."
That's pretty much it. Why do you think that happened that way? Because we wanted to see the connections, but we didn't get to see y'all, and y'all obviously had one. It was organic. You can tell.
It was okay. So soon as Habibi, when I first seen Habibi, I'm like, yeah, who is this with this? It is hot as hell. Why he got this thing on it, this turban on his head? And Jesus! I'm like, oh, clearly this won't be about looks. Like we really got to know these people. Right. But Habibi is handsome. I'm not gonna take that away from him because I've seen him without the
all the stuff.
So when I spilled the wine on me, he was just sitting there laughing, and I was like, "So you're not gonna grab napkins? You're not gonna help me clean this up?" And he was like, "F no, do it yourself." And I was like,
"Wow."
I said, "You're rude," and he started laughing, and I was like, "Get away from me!" And he was like, "Chill out, I'm just playing with you." And I knew right then and there, I'm like, I know what type of dude he is. Like, I have Habibis in friend circles from different walks of life.
Yes.
We have Habibis in the family. So Habibi is that cousin you can meet up with at the barbecue.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You want to have a good time? Take him on the road trip.
Don't take him too seriously, right? Exactly.
Like he can sit in the park. He could take Habibi with you if you want to have a good time. That's Habibi. I love you, Habibi.
Well, it's whatever. But I do get that from him. Yes, I do.
Yes. So. I was like, you gonna work my nerves. I was like, but I think you're a cool guy. I say, but we got to clean this act up. I was like, not everybody's gonna accept you and take you or receive you the way that I am. I get you.
Right.
I get your personality and all that. So we were just sitting there talking, and he actually calmed down, and we were just having a good conversation. Like Kira enjoyed it too, because Kira was sitting there talking with us. Right. So then I moved around because they were telling me I had to get up and move around.
Speed dating.
So yeah, speed dating. So by that point, I know everybody's saying they're having experiences with Habibi. What everyone has to understand, I wasn't with Habibi the entire time at the mixer. Right. So I wasn't there to see his interactions with everybody because I'm interacting with different people and trying to get to know people.
Of what you're supposed to, yes.
So I can't hold his hand. 100%. So the way everybody's experiencing him, I experienced it a little bit, but he turned it down when he seen that I got serious with him.
See,
I'm like,
I like you said that.
Right. But I knew then Habibi was just gonna be a friend connection. Right. He wasn't gonna be a romantic connection or something, and I made that very known. So we were sitting on the bench with Tommy. I was like, you know what? Even me and Unique both said it. We was like, Habibi not playing like. He's showing up as his true self. Yes. He's not putting on like this is who he is. And I like that he can stand firm in himself. So I was like, but I'm gonna fight for him because I think he can make it through this process. If I could work with him, get to clean up that ex. Right. Figure out like what have you been through in life for you to like come off strong.
Right.
To people. So I was really,
you were rooting for him. You were.
I was rooting for him, and I wanted to see him make connections, but I also wanted to get to know him on a level like, what's going on?
Yes, like, there's more to this than what I'm saying.
It's more because you're not acting like this for
right.
So, yeah, I had Habibi in my top, and not once when we were sitting on the couch when nephew Tommy was asking like, well. What is it about Habibi, Janelle, that she was just like, she thinks he's here for entertainment. Not once did she say, oh, he said an appropriate comment to anything. Yes. And I didn't know about that into the women's lounge. So let's see. The next day we had off. Then that Monday, we had brunch, I want to say. Yes, we had brunch. And so we were all meeting there. And they was like, hey, make sure you connect with everybody because this is going to be the last time y'all see each other in a group setting like this. Okay. So make it a point to connect with everybody. And I did just that. Okay. The only reason why I'm doing this short right now because I'm talking about Habibi.
Right. Gotcha.
So after that, then a couple of days passed and I had a group date. And once I get there, I was like, who's coming to this group date? Because when you arrive to the date, you don't know who's going to be there until production told you. And they were like, well, you're hosting it. And you just tell them, they was telling me like, hey,
okay, what to do, whatever. Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So I was like, who is it? He was like, Janelle, Kira, Red, Phil, and Habibi, and I was like, okay, a lot of strong personalities, but yes, okay. This should be an interesting group day. So I was like, okay. Kira arrives first. Her and I walk in, and then the men walk in, and then Janelle walks in last. And I'm excited to see Janelle.
Okay.
Because me and Janelle didn't have no
beef. Kind of problem or anything.
We didn't have no beef.
Right.
And so she walks in, she sit down, and I'm like, hey, Janelle. Before she walked in, we was already having small conversations.
Okay.
So I had heard like she had an issue with Habibi. So I'm like, oh, it seems to be some, issues with you and Habibi. Right. Like, what's going on? Because I'm trying to see if she gonna say what the issue is. And she didn't want to answer it. So I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity to address whatever is going on between you and Habibi. Because if he said that, I'm gonna hold him accountable in front of everybody. Right. But it didn't go that way. So we did the foiling dates, and as we were wrapping up, we were walking out, and we were unmiked by then.
Okay.
So actually Janelle was like, T, come sit with me. I've been trying to catch up with you, we want to talk. And I was like, okay, yeah. I want to sit and get to know her too. Okay. So we sitting there talking. Instantly the producers run over and they turn on their mics because they trying to hear what me and Janelle talking about. Okay. So Janelle was like, don't pay them no mind. Okay. And so we were kind of just low key talking. We was very selective with our words. So we was like, well, let's go. We can talk outside.
Okay.
So we getting up talking, and then the guys are walking out in front of us, and then by this time, Janelle, and Habibi are walking out the door, and she was like, Habibi, come here, let me have a conversation with you real quick. So often she grabs him like this, and she's walking. Now, if someone supposedly made you feel uncomfortable or made an inappropriate comment, why are you comfortable to say, come here? 100%. Let me have a conversation 100%. With you. She was like, and she's walking, and she was like, look, Habibi, I think you're a cool guy. There's no connection with us. I want you to focus on your connections, and we're gonna keep it at that, okay? And he was like, okay. And I'm like, Janelle, why you couldn't say this on camera? Like, why are you doing this while we mic?
So it was your first time. Okay.
Yes. Gotcha. And I'm like, I was like, that's when I was like, I don't think Habibi made an inappropriate comment. So we as we were walking to the cars, everybody saying goodbye. She was like, T, I need your number. And I was like, Wow. I was like, we need to talk. Right. I want to talk first. Right. And she was like, well, can you just give me a ride home? And I was like, yeah, we could talk. Where you stay? And she was like, I actually stay 5 minutes away. And I didn't know she didn't have a car. Because normally she takes Uber. That's fine. Everybody done, that's her ground transportation. I'm not here to judge, because we used to ride the city buses around the city.
In Irvin, a lot of buses there, so I do understand 100%. I know have a car, so I get it.
Who am I?
But anyway, 40 years old. But okay, we'll leave it there.
Yeah. So get in the car, we driving. I'm parked in front of her where she lives. I know where Janelle lives. So we're talking, and she was like, so who are you feeling and who are you not feeling? I said, well, going off from the mixer, Chris, Marie, and Habibi are in my top, and I said Red too.
Okay.
And so she was like, Habibi, she was like, she was like, he's just here for entertainment purposes. I say, I believe he's here for entertainment purposes too. Okay. I was like, he's really funny. He's good TV. And I think producers are going to keep him for entertainment
So you was agreeing with her. Wow.
I was agreeing with her.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, I just don't like his demeanor or nothing like that. That was all she said.
She said nothing about
an inappropriate comment.
And did it happen that day? Did it happen apparently that day that you know of?
Apparently, he made an inappropriate comment at the mixer to her.
Okay. But still, by then,
I have asked. It's been 3 occasions where I'm waiting on her to, share this in front of me. Right. That was on the bench with Tommy and Unique.
Okay.
When we get in the folding area, and I posed the question in front of the group, but then she kind of,
did that with him over to the side.
Stay your way, and I stay my way.
Okay.
So then we get in the car, and she says that this is us.
Nobody else is there but just
Nobody's in the car with us, just me and her.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling Q nor Phil. And she was like, well, Phil did call and tell me that you made him uncomfortable because you asked him about a threesome. I said, first of all, I said, Phil called you? And she said, yeah. And I was like, Phil, I'm not understanding a grown man. I say no offense to you, but I don't understand why he called and was telling you how I made him feel uncomfortable.
Oh wow!
I feel like as a grown man,
he should have said something to you.
He should have found a way to get in contact with me. I said I literally just sat in this spoiling place and asked Phil like, "What's up?" And he was like, I just don't think we're a connection. And I respected that. And I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna keep me in your bottom. Keep me." Right. I'm gonna keep you in my bottom.
Okay, I got you.
Keep me in your bottom, Phil.
Okay.
Red was sitting there when I said it. Kira was sitting there when I said it. So it was very clear Phil and I weren't a connection. So, but I didn't know he had a conversation with Janelle. So I felt like that alone was the beginning to the tension with Janelle and I.
Oh, okay. The origin.
Yes. So then she was like, Chris is just like a little brother to me. Like, I went to high school with him. She was like, I couldn't date him or talk to him or anything. She was like, yeah, it's just not there. So then she started talking about, I said, well, who's in your top? And she was like, Herbert, Red, and I can't remember who else. I want to say Q wasn't in her top at that point.
Right.
But I was like, oh, okay. I think Red and Kira has a connection. She was like, yeah, I don't like Kira. And I was like, why? She was like, yeah, it's her person. I just can't do her. And I was like, okay. And then she was like, and I also don't like Unique because of the thought job comment she made towards him. I'm like, I didn't even know Unique made a thought job.
Oh, you didn't even know? Wow.
No, I did not know Unique said that. I said, wait a minute, what? She was like, yeah, she told him she know him from somewhere. She was like, when Red and I was talking, he said he didn't know her. So I was like, okay. I said, let me say something. I feel like, so it won't be no drama like this in the process. I feel like if people have an issue with people, they should go directly to that person.
I agree.
And not go and talk to someone. And that's how the telephone game messed up.
Oh, they all going to her? It seems like everyone's going to her.
Yes. And I was like, I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, why are the men confiding in Janelle? And I'm like, so Phil, and I'm like, how does she know this stuff? So then one thing we agreed on, she was like, look, whatever we do, if we have issues, let's just talk about it. She was like, I don't want us tearing our black men down on camera. I said, no, I agree, because our black men go through enough already.
Yes.
So that's one thing I don't want us tearing them down. Like, we should be protecting them. If we're not matching with somebody respectfully, we could put them in that bottom and it won't be no tension, no beef or anything. Like, you're just not matching. And we agreed on that. So when we got to the lounge the next morning, it was raining, and production had communicated with me the wrong outfit to wear in the lounge. So
this is important.
This is very important.
This is important, yeah.
So it was a rough morning already because I started my period that morning.
Yes. That was happening.
And I stayed the furthest. So I think call time was like 9. So I'm always in a peak of traffic when I'm coming to wherever we're meeting at. And so when I get there, I'm looking at all the ladies in dresses, like dressed real nice. And I had on this corduroy jumpsuit. Right. And I was like, why am I the only one looking different from everybody? So I felt like I was being like set up or something. And I was like,
yeah, I remember she did. Completely different than everybody else.
I went to the producers. I was like, hey, why am I the only one dressed in a pantsuit and everybody has on dresses? And he was like, I told you to wear your brown jumpsuit. I was like, why would you tell me to wear a brown jumpsuit when I was like, aesthetic wise, I'm not going to look right sitting up here with them. So, of course, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. So I got back in the car, ran to a nearby store, picked up the dress that I wore in the lounge. Changed all that. And I was just annoyed. Like, I put on lotion. It looked like I was ashy, but I didn't put on lotion.
I didn't see any of that.
They roasted me.
I didn't see any of that.
They said I was ashy. So they roasted me for it. All right, cool, whatever. So we get in there, like we're all sitting at the table. Mind you, they really just irritated me. So I was just like annoyed for the most part. Yes. Then I was tired. It's the first day on my side.
Yes. I remember him. Let's get this
over with. So I'm sitting at the table. I'm quiet for the most part.
She was.
In the morning, I'm quiet. So I'm kind of just dozing off too. I was like sleepy, like dozing off too, because I know At one point, I was eating, small talk. Everybody felt like there was tension. I didn't.
Okay.
Janelle was on her computer working, telling her business. Everybody was just doing small talk. Now, I will say, me and Unique were the quiet ones.
Okay.
We're observers.
Unique, very quiet, yes.
Unique is a very quiet person, and she's goofy around who she feels comfortable with. So I get to see her goofy side all the time. So everybody kept asking me, "Are you okay?" Because I'm a bubbly person. Yes. Always in a good mood. And I was like, yeah, it's been a long day. Morning, I'm really annoyed that I feel like production set me up with my outfit.
About the outfit part, right?
So I was like, why did they do me like that? So by that time we was waiting for everything to get set up. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go downstairs. Okay. I'm gonna go lay down. I'm cramping. So I went downstairs in the little basement area. It was one of the producers down there. And then Kira came down there and Unique came down there. And then so we were just sitting up there talking about our dating experience. Me and Kira were making TikToks at this point. And I was like, oh girl, I'm tired. I'm going to cramping again. And so Kira kept going up and back and downstairs. But me and Unique pretty much just stayed down there. We got to know each other a little more.
Right. Like, so you went up there with the rest of them. Y'all were just down there.
No, I was just tired of sitting up there. So I want this. It was like a little couch thing down there. So I was sitting down there just, talking to Unique. And I guess the girls felt like we were downstairs planning something or dividing, and that was not the case at all. So when we get upstairs and we go into the lounge, everybody's discussing their tops, and Tommy gives everyone specifically the floor to speak, who's in their top and who's in their bottom. And everybody got to speak their piece without interruptions. Well, when it gets to me,
whole lot.
You got people interrupting me to the point where Tommy was like, hold up, let her speak. Right. Like, we let y'all speak, let her speak.
Okay.
But the thing that kind of had me set back, because I was quiet till I had my legs crossed, I'm looking, and Sierra, when she was describing how Chris hair piece, I'm looking like, why are we talking about men's hair? Yes, you know what I'm saying? Yes. I didn't like that. That really, I was like, she doing too much. Like in this moment. Okay. I was like, I understand she's trying to, bring that comedic side of her to it. Right, yeah, right. Being funny and all that. But I didn't find it funny. The girls are laughing, and I'm like, I was the only one that wasn't laughing. I'm like, that's not cool.
Funny to you, right?
So then, Janelle was chiming in. Like different people were chiming in, like making little funny comments. And I'm like, yeah, that's not cute. And so when she got to Habibi, I was like, well, I like Habibi. Like, I like him as a friend. Like, he really is a sweet person. I talked to him on the phone. Like, I've gotten to know him. I'm getting to know him a little bit. I don't know him fully, but, I'm starting to understand him as a person. Yes. So, when it came time to say why she didn't like Habibi, that's when she brought up made an inappropriate comment, and I'm like where? It's been too many instances, and you have not brought it up. Like, you were comfortable telling me how I may feel uncomfortable from what he told you, but you have yet to tell me how Habibi made you uncomfortable. Too many one-on-ones, like too many opportunities for her to bring that up. And I was like, yep, I don't believe it. I didn't. I'm sorry. Like, I know Habibi is wild. Right. But I've asked you on numerous times and you didn't. So then she started with the little sass comment. She has this condescending tone, like people are beneath her. And I was just like, yeah, I've already had a bad morning. Like, you really catch me on a bad day. And so with everything that went on, it was like, yes, I'm going to take accountability. I shouldn't have never jumped up. Okay. But when you have somebody who is what's the word I want to use? Very direct and bold as Janelle. Okay. I can be direct and bold too. Yes. Because I'm just not going to let anyone big dog me on TV. 100%. So it's like 100%. However you show up towards me, I can match that. Same smoke. Whatever smoke you got, I got it as well. Thank you. Because my thing is, we said we wouldn't tear black men down on camera. So I felt like with that conversation, I'm like, we just had this conversation yesterday. And then as soon as the cameras turn on,
it's different. What was the jump to Jessica a little bit? What was that? You can get it too.
So, yes, when Janelle and I were going at it, I could hear Jessica making side.
She was.
Well, yes. Like, like, you know. So, and then as I'm walking by, she looking at me like this, like.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So to me, where I'm from, it's like
no, I got that.
Like you check like what's
right,
up.
like
so
what's
I'm
good.
Like, okay,
like,
boo,
yes,
you can get it 100%. Too. Like I'm not mad that she was behind her friend because
right, no.
I would have did the same thing.
Yes,
I would have behind my friend.
Right, but still, in that moment with so much going on, this TV, I don't see why she was jumping
your place, boo.
Yes, that's it. But
I would have did it too. But in this moment, this me and Janelle, top dog, big dog. We meeting each other where we at. So yeah, and that's why I said, oh, you can get it too. Like, stay out of this.
Do you think with all that happened, that was the reason why when they went back, the men talked about it? Because not long after that, what was it? How many episodes did you leave after that?
I was on 3 episodes.
3 episodes. Do you think that had a lot to do with it at all, with the other men?
Absolutely, because in all fair and honesty, the only, I will say this, Phil, when I got there, Phil was the first guy I talked to because I went and sat at the table and Aries was there. So when I saw Aries, I was like, oh, this girl is beautiful. I was like, oh, look at, she's beautiful.
Like leave me alone, I'm telling you.
And she's just like, her whole aura is just like poetic.
Yes.
Just this time. Yes. So I was like, oh, this girl is cute. So, I'm talking to Phil. She's asking Phil questions too. So we're both just getting to know him and we're laughing. It was small talk. I think I sat there for about 30 minutes. I'm trying to eat little cheese or whatever. And then I was like, okay, I need to get up and go talk to other people. So then I think it was like maybe 3 or 4 hours later, because I told Phil, I was like, I really like our conversation, so I'm going to circle back and catch up with you again.
Okay.
So by that point, after I'm done circling around, one of the producers, she was like, girl, you know how to work a room. Like your conversations, like you've covered basics.
Right.
And so there was like this second round, when you're going to talk, we want you to dig deeper. And this was by this time I went to another area and another producer was like, yeah, you're going to have to dig deep because you done got the basics out the way. And I was like,
hold on. So they tell y'all, they give y'all kind of like
pointers.
Okay. Gotcha.
Pointers, like cues.
Gotcha.
And I was like, well, how deeper you wanted me to go? And this was right before I was fit to sit down with Marie. And it was like, ask about sex, ask about, those type of things. And I was like, no, I do not want to ask about sex on the first date. I say, I've watched this show long enough to know I will get backlash for that. And this specific producer is like, you have to follow my direction. I say, I understand it, but I'm a lady at the end of the day. Like, why would I ask that on the first day when I'm getting to know?
Yes.
These gentlemen, and that producer was like, follow my instructions. So I'm like, shoot, I don't want to get eliminated on the first night for not following. This is my first time. I don't know how this reality stuff.
Everybody do the same
thing. So I'm like, I don't want to get eliminated on the first night for not following instructions.
Yes.
So I sat down and me and Maria, we were bonding over our love for our mothers and our grandmothers. And then one of the producers cleared his throat like, and he puts up a cue card saying, go deeper. And I was like, in my mind, I didn't know exactly in regards to sex what I want to answer. So my first question was, hey, have you ever had a threesome with Mario? So I asked him that. Mario was like, well, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. He was like, let's talk. So I enjoyed my conversation with Mario. Mario and I talked about sex. I was like, oh, he's cool. This is a grown man.
Right.
We talked for 45 minutes. He was like, how much further do you want to talk about this? He was like, I could go into it.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. So we was talking, and they was like, okay, it's time for you to get up because y'all done did a good enough talking. You did good.
Speed dating thing.
So the producer was like, good job. You did good. That was good. And I was like, yeah, it was kind of uncomfortable. I didn't know how he was going to receive it.
Right.
So then, as Phil walking over, and I'm sitting in the chair, I was like, we're going to do the same thing with Phil.
Okay.
Phil sat down and he was like, remember, we're going to ask the same question. So I'm like, okay. So me and Phil are talking, and he asked me about religion and spirituality. And I was like, oh, this would be a good question because depending on with religion, like how do you handle sex with religion, dating, and all that? Like, do you wait 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Do you wait till you married? Do you test out all the things?
Yes, all things are the things.
So I asked him, and he chuckled a little bit, but he answered. He was like, I was like, where's the craziest place you've ever had sex, or a threesome or something like that? And he answered, and he felt like I took a cold shoulder to it. And I was like, it's just in a garage. I'm like, it's rodents in there. Like, I don't know if I would do that. I'm thinking, I'm like, yeah, no. But I didn't turn a cold shoulder to him because right when he said that, they was like, okay, Tommy's about to come in. Cut. So as Tommy's coming in, you see me getting up, smiling like, hey.
You did.
Yes.
You did.
And so that's why I was confused. I never knew I made Phil uncomfortable because after that, I never got the chance to circle back with Phil.
Okay.
So, my first time hearing, So then, the next 2 days after that, it was that Monday.
Okay.
We went to brunch. So when they told us to make sure, we make it a mission to meet everyone, because this was our last time as a group setting, being together. I tried to go up and talk to Phil, and he was like, and I was like, okay. I was okay with that.
Okay.
So I moved and went and talked to somebody else.
No.
Me and Phil never got to talk. That was probably the only person I didn't talk to. Now, I will say this. Unique, she was by me for a little bit, and I was like, I already know who are in my bottom, and it's Quentin and Phil. Me and Phil were never a connection.
Okay.
But I just knew it wasn't gonna work with Phil and I, so I was okay with that.
Okay.
So I kept avoiding Q, and it was fine. It was at a point where I couldn't avoid him no more because I sat at the table. I was sitting by myself because they were trying to position different people to go here, go over there.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for them to tell me where to go. And Q comes over and he sits down and he was like, hey, you look nice. And I was like, hey, I really don't want to waste your time.
At least you're being honest.
I was very honest, and I'm a very direct person.
Yes.
And some people can handle that, some can. I was like, hey, I don't want to waste your time. You don't really have to sit here and talk to me. I want you to focus on the connections that you're more compatible with. He was like, no. I'm still in the process. We're here to get to know everybody. They told us to make sure we talk to everybody. So I want to have a conversation with you. And I was like, yeah, but you don't really have to.
Don't waste
your time. I said it as nicely as I can.
Yes.
So, we was just briefly, he started talking. So we briefly talking, and they told us to go outside. So him and I go by the Connect 4 thing. And I'm like, it's just not there for me.
It's not the connection.
There's no connection. And I really didn't want to waste time. So he's asking me questions. And at this point, I'm like, I'm going to just say whatever so we can end it real quick. Because he was like, well, have you ever been cheated on? I was like, I've been cheated on in every relationship. Like, I just said so real quick. Just to get it out the way. He was like, oh, wow. And I was like, yeah. And, like, the conversation was awkward because I wasn't putting effort into talking to him because I already knew, like, I'm not going to waste your time. And so after that, I didn't talk to Q anymore. So I was kind of confused at how Q was stating just for me crying on the first night at the mixer that I needed to heal, and I was just having those emotions because quote unquote nobody wanted me. And
but let's revisit the Q conversation. So I know one of the things that was said in the lounge with y'all, with the whole thing about the him liking the white girls. When did that conversation happen? Or I know it wasn't deep, but y'all had something of a conversation about the topic. When did that actually happen?
Okay, so I actually had a lot of good conversations with the men at the mixer. So I was like, it's going good. Everybody was like, you cool. I like your conversation.
She does have conversation.
All of that. And I'm like, okay, so it's really going good. And
they were comfortable with you. That's what it was.
Yes, they very were much so.
Okay.
Like, I talked to Chris like 3 times that night. Like, I loved Chris.
Yes. Yes, I love both.
I love Maria too. But I think I didn't really get to have a conversation with Herbert. Yeah. So when it was time to do eliminations, I was like, surely I won't be called tonight. I was like, because my mom was like, whatever you do, do not get eliminated on the first night.
Yes. It does. Yes. It's kind of rich love rule or any really.
Yes, stuff, and my friends even told me that was like, teachers go up there and be you. Right. That was like, you shouldn't get eliminated. Like, you look good. Mm-hmm. We know your personality. We know you, so you should be good. So I'm like, okay. So he called my name. I'm like, what the hell?
Like, you did look like that. You did look like.
I'm like, okay. So I was standing there. I'm like, okay. And then when he called Leanne, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely going home.
Wow.
I knew I was going home because I'm like, Leanne is a baddie, like, right, beautiful, in shape. And I was like, hey, maybe the guys didn't like me. Maybe they were just saying it to just get me out of their face. I don't know. So much was going through my head because I'm like, why would they tell me?
You did have a confused look when they called you.
Yes. You did. And so when Tommy was like, the guys just feel like some, I'm like, that's not what they tell me, but okay.
Okay.
So after that, everybody went in the house, and I was like, I just need to go woosah.
Okay.
I didn't cry in front of nobody out there. I was in the
there was
bathroom.
Nobody around the camera. I saw you sitting there. Nobody was around.
Well, no, I went in the house to the restroom because I had to use the restroom, and then I was just so embarrassed because in that moment I'm like, that is so embarrassing to be in the bottom on the first.
Yeah.
No one understands it until they're in that position. So to me, it was a moment of embarrassment, and it was like, this is what I always go through. Men lying to me, like, just keep it 100 direct, like you're not gonna hurt my feelings. Right. So they thought I was crying because nobody didn't want me. That was not the case. We had been out there. I had been out there since 9:00 that morning. I hadn't eaten since breakfast. I didn't even get no food because I didn't see no food out there. And I had been drinking water and liquor all day. So feet was hurting, heels. Having to sit up here and talk all day. It was just a range of emotions that hit me at once. And I'm like, I'm putting in the work. Like, I'm doing my best trying to navigate and talk to everyone and get to know everybody. And I was like, I guess there's just not enough for this process. So I'm in the bathroom and I'm crying and I'm like, get it together, girl. So I'm cleaning up my face, and then one of the producers are knocking on the door, and I was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I was just having a moment, but I'm really okay. I just needed to woo south.
Right.
And it was hot out there too.
Yeah, Texas, yeah.
So then they was like, one of the producer, they was telling another one, they was like, hey, your girl's in the bathroom crying. So one of the producers came in and like giving me a pep talk, like, you girl, suck it up. You got this. Like, this is just the beginning. So it was good. I cleaned up my face and I went back out there, went and got me something to drink. I was like, I don't want to go up in there because I'm like, I don't know who lied to me. So it's kind of awkward to go back into there and be around everybody knowing you're in the bottom. Because I'm like,
oh, you talking to those people. So you don't know who's saying what.
Okay. I don't know who's saying what. So I'm going to just sit out on here on the bench, have a drink, and be cool. So Red comes up. He was like, you weren't going nowhere. He was like, you good. So Red gave me that reassurance. And I was like, thank you, Red.
Okay. That was nice.
Marie comes up and he's so sweet. And just like him, the way he talks, he was very gentle, smooth. And it just made me cry all over again. I was like, no, I don't want to talk about it.
You was already kind of emotional.
I was good. Yeah. I was emotional. I was to a place where I was like, okay, I got this. I'm good. But then they came back. I was like, hey, want to check on you. And it was like waterfalls. And I was like, I was telling the camera, I was like, please take the camera off of me. Like, this is not a moment I won't film. Like, I'm trying to get it together. And y'all are just putting this camera in my face. And so I'm cleaning my face and, Marie speaking life into me. So once I get cleaned up and I'm good, I'm still trying to chill outside and be to myself. So then I go sit back on the bench and then Herbert walks up. And he was like, hey there, you okay? And I'm like, yes. And then he was like, I see you sitting out here by yourself. Just wanted to check on you, make sure you're good, sweet. I'm drinking. And then the waterfall again. I'm like,
DJ was it man's voice when you're emotional like that.
Yes, it was so reassuring. So the producer was like, okay, nobody else come up and ask her because she was doing good. And the more men that keep walking up to her after she go keep crying because it was so sweet. And I'm like,
right, of course.
So it is some people who care. It's just I'm confused right now. So then I go back in the house, wipe my face. I'm like, okay, girl, you got to get it together. All this crying and stuff.
Right.
So then as I'm coming out the bathroom, Q walks up and I was like, hey, I was kind of actually looking for you. And he was like, yeah, you okay? Just want to check on you. So we sat on the couch and I was like, if I'm not the person you see a connection with, I was like, I'm a very direct person. Just tell me. I say, I'm not going to be mad if you tell me. I say, if you tell me and then it's the opposite of what you tell me, then that's an issue for me because you're lying to me. And I say, and I don't like people who lie to me. So I was like, if you don't see a connection with me, just let me know. And he was like, no. It's still a process. We all still have to get to know each other. So I was like, okay, well, I was like, who are you feeling here? Are you like, who's on your list tonight? And he was like, well, there's no woman in here that I would normally go after. So I'm like, it's 10 beautiful chocolate women of different shapes, and we some bad chicks.
Yes.
And there's not one woman that you would normally go in here after. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, so you date outside of your race? And he was like, well, I'm from Miami.
Okay.
You know, I've dated Latinos and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. I say, but so who, you know, catches your eye here?
Right.
So he said, well, just from tonight, just, you know, navigating. He said, Sierra and Janelle. And I said, oh, he likes light skinned women. Like he dates outside of his race.
I get it. So you said it. I get it. I
when really he said that, so I'm like, clearly you put me in the bottom because you didn't say my name, which is fine.
Right.
That's fine. So that's when I knew he wasn't my connection. So that's why when he came to the brunch and sat at the table, I'm like, you don't have to waste your time sitting here.
You already knew what it was.
I already knew what it was.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
And so actually when we were getting mic'd up about to go into the brunch, you know, me and Leanne were standing next to each other, little baddie. She's so fine.
She is.
And she was like, hey T. I was like, hey boo. And I'm like, who you feeling? And she was like, Marvin and Q. And she was like, but I'm still, you know, discovering, trying to get to know. I was like, okay. I said, well, let me put something in your ear so you can have a conversation with him. Maybe you need to ask him this. Gotcha. I'm whispering to her.
Right.
I'm like, I had a conversation with him, and I don't think he like black women, girl. I said, I think he said he date Latinos. He's from Miami, you know, all of that. Because he's the two women he told me the day before, like he said,
Janelle and Sierra.
Janelle and Sierra. And I was like, so if that's your connection, just make sure. I just want you to make sure. Ask that question. She was like, no, thank you for letting me know. But she was like, girl, I'm chocolate. So
you sound just loud,
like, oh, baby, I'm chocolate. Like, it don't get no lighter than this. And I was
lovely. Yes.
I was like, Lee is funny.
She is. I swear to God,
that's my boo. Lee is funny. Love you, Lee.
Yes, she's everything.
It's my boo. I love
body,
her so
body.
Much. Yes. And so she was like, yeah, I have that conversation with him. You know, I'm just letting him know.
Yes.
So me and Kira never had that conversation.
Really?
Yes. We never. Okay, so leaving the mixer, I got Aries numbers. I had my phone in the car, so I didn't have my phone on me. So I remember putting my number in Marie's phone because he asked for it.
Okay.
I put my number in Q's phone because me and Aries was sitting next to each other. He, you know, asked for Aries' number. Then he came by. He was like, "Here, put your number in my phone." I did, but let him tell it. He never got my number. Cool, whatever. And then I got Kira's number and Unique's number, and so the next day, Habibi called me. Red FaceTime me, Chris FaceTime me.
Okay.
And I tried to reach out to Maria, and the only reason why I put an effort into searching, because I'm like, Maria has my number. I don't have his number.
Okay.
And I want to call and make sure his mom is okay, because while he was at that table, he was getting calls that his mom was being rushed to the hospital. Wow. And he answered like they cut so he can answer, and he was like, "Oh, my mom's being rushed to the hospital." But he said, "I want to make sure you good."
Okay. Wow.
Who does that? Because baby, who I would have left behind my mama. 100%. He was like, I want to make sure you good, you know. So, but as soon as we got done, we was leaving out the house and everything. He was like, yeah, I'm about to go up there and check on my mom and everything. So I wanted to make sure his mom was okay.
Okay, that's something else.
So I even told producers, I was like, hey, can you give me Marie's number? Because his mom was rushed to the hospital as he was having a conversation with me. And I just want to check on him. I want to check on his mom just like he checked on me.
Right.
And they was like, well, we can't give you his number. He has to ask for your number. And I was like, okay, but can you call and make sure his mom is okay? And they was like, yeah. And I say, will you call me back and let me know? And I was like, yes. So then the next person I called was Aries. I was like, hey, do you have Marie's number? And I was like, the only reason why I'm asking, because his mom was rushed to the hospital. I want to make sure his mom okay. And she was like, I don't know. And so when I'm hearing in the women's lounge that, you know, he's been in conversation.
Yes, this is crazy.
Hours upon hours and hours and hours.
This is so interesting. But yet, 5 days. No call.
5 days.
No call.
And I'm his number one connection. Mm-hmm. So, even knowing that, and people they thought I was getting mad because he was more, because I'm listening to everybody's interview. They was like, I guess she got mad because he put in more effort to communicate with other women. Like, this is a dating process. Correct, but I never put him in my bottom. Yeah. He was still in my top. Like, I was just like, oh, that's how I'm sitting there. Like, I wasn't mad. I was just like, I just wonder how he can say I'm his number one connection. And he went 5 days without talking to me, but he's made an effort to talk to other people within those 5 days. So I was like, So when Tommy asked who was in my top, I said my top is gonna be Chris, Marie, and Red. And I said that I actually said Marvin, Phil, and Q are gonna be at my bottom. Mm-hmm. Me and Marvin actually had a really good conversation, but then we never circled back around to each other. And I was like, is he mad at me or something? I don't know. It was like we just didn't talk, and we kept walking past each other, and we didn't say nothing. I was like, this is awkward. I was like, Marvin just don't say nothing to me. So I'm assuming there's not a connection, but later on we determined he thought he said something that made me uncomfortable. I'm like, no, I enjoyed my conversation with you. Like, so we talked about his daughter. We talked about him traveling. We bonded over books, costumes. Like, I'm like, Marvin, wasn't nothing wrong with our conversation. I'm like, that was weird. So time wasted there, but I love Mario. Yeah. We're very close. I keep in touch with him all the time. Very supportive of him. Love you, Marvin. So yeah.
He had a birthday recently.
Yep. Happy belated birthday. Mm-hmm. And so after the women's lounge, I found out my date that night was supposed to be with Mario. But they canceled my date because of the interaction Janelle and I had in the women's lounge.
Oh, wow.
So after that, now this is like the first serious conversation Kira and Unique had, because as soon as I got in the car, they was like, why did you jump up? Like, you should be embarrassed. And like, they were going in on me. Like, they was like, we love you. And that's like, this is a sisterhood at the end of the day. Yes. Like, it was cool, like just holding me accountable, and we're just meeting each other. That means everything to me, because those are the type of people I was
yes, real talk.
I was like, I understand, like, please forgive me. I apologize. I was like, I did overreact. But I said, what y'all don't know is me and Janelle had an off-camera conversation, which she talked about them too, but I'm just like, you know, it was a lot being said, and I was like, it was already a rough day. So once I started telling them every day, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
It all caught up.
They was like, but still, you shouldn't let nobody get you out of your character like that. They was like, I'm not okay with that. And they did. They held me accountable. Love you, sisters.
Yes, I love that.
I appreciated that in that moment. So when I got home, I text Maria. I was like, hey, you know, sorry, just made it home from the women's lounge. You know, I haven't heard from you, and this is me just trying to remember. Right. I actually have it. I don't want to lie. So I didn't feel like my text was, I think it was very direct and to the point. I think he felt like it was rude. Okay. So here it says, good morning, beautiful. Hope all is well. And as you can see, 7:32 when I got home. Hello, respectfully continue the process with the connections you have put effort into communicating with. I wish you well through this journey.
Okay, very nice.
And he says, I'm a little confused. Is everything okay? I said, you called and had great conversations with a few of the ladies every day to be exactly.
Oh, wow.
You have had my number since Saturday at the mixer and have yet to use it.
Right.
So I want to continue with I want you to continue with who you really are connected to. As you can see right here.
Yes.
Yes, I'm good. Thank you for asking, love. So.
See, I like that. That's how you handle it. That's how you handle it.
I felt like that wasn't rude.
I don't think it was at all.
Respectfully, I never put you in my bottom. I still kept you on my top because I still wanted you to navigate this journey with who you wanted to be connected with, but let everyone tell it. I was mad because he was talking to the other ladies or gave them more attention. Nobody likes me. I can't handle rejection. I'm like.
And that was elimination day, correct? That text message.
Yes.
See? And I said before, the men will always change on the women when it's elimination day. They want them to call, talk. Every season, the same thing. Not everybody talks about it, but she is. I've been saying that. They act all funny 2 days before elimination. I knew it.
Yes, and so then I was made aware that Maria gets in the men group chat and was like, man, we finna vote Taquilla out. Let's vote Taquilla out, because she came at me sideways. She tripping. She texted me with this crazy stuff. And mind you, I have 3 connections, so nobody knows who's telling me this stuff. Everybody thinks it's Habibi. I'm like, y'all gonna be fooled.
Wow. Oh my God, bro.
So I'm like, wow. So you really you really took your well manicured nails, screenshotted my text messages,
right, for other people to see.
Oh, for other people in this men group chat to see. You dropped it in the men's group chat and was like, let's vote T out. And so when I found that out, I was like, well, I'll make it easier for him. I'll just self-eliminate. Like, so I called the producers. I was like, hey, the men's have a group chat. You know, apparently Maurier thought I went off on him. Right. He felt some type of way that I texted him, telling him to focus on his connections, but I never put him in my bottom. I actually wanted to give him that room to navigate this process and connect further with people while I'm still, because to be honest with you, I actually told production, I was like, I want my dates to be with Chris and Maurier. Okay. I was very honest and direct with who I wanted to be on a date with. Right. So, and Red, I said Red too. Yeah. Me and Red was cool. And so, they was like, don't worry about no men's group chat. They don't know. They don't even pay that group chat any attention. Okay. Like, that's not how this works. And I'm like,
but how could you not? Like, okay. So how could you not pay attention to the group chat? But okay.
I'm being told, I was like, I don't think that's fair for one person to jump in a group chat and tell people to vote out when I haven't had the experience to talk to the other guys. So now I feel like when the guys are speaking at me like she needs to heal, or she's up and down and you don't know what she's gonna get. How, when I haven't even filmed with y'all? How?
That's interesting.
So y'all are going by word of mouth, informing this perception of me, and it's not cool. It's not cool. I didn't appreciate that, and I'm like, if I'm being honest, I felt like me pouring my heart into this application turned into my narrative and like heartbreak, and pouring so much into my relationships and not having that reciprocity in return. Yes. And so for me, like really coming to this process, really trying to put an effort into getting to know these men. And I'm the type of person, if you don't have one time to show me you're not interested, and I'm good.
100%.
And so with you,
you're not going to beg for it. 100%.
With Phil. I love it. So yes, nobody wanted me. I'm like, I'm confused because I was okay with letting it be known we're not a connection. Right. So I'm trying to see, where did the rejection come in when I was the one communicating? So yeah, this experience definitely has been transitional and transformative for me. So definitely been a good transition. I learned a lot about myself. Everybody kept saying I needed to heal, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I do. I need to heal from self-inflicted trauma, like the effort and how far I would go to put into, managing these relationships and even in friendships, like everything into, for it not to work out. Right. And just navigating life and life ups and downs. But most of my experiences come from self-inflicted experiences. So I guess you can say, I need to heal, but I'm just like, for Q, because I've heard in his interviews, he was like, yeah, you crying on the first night. Brandon cried. So does Brandon need to heal?
100%. Q, to me, well, I want to say the men that they're coming from a place of like negativity. I don't know why.
They had a negative
outlet on you, and it's really, even after you left. Let's talk about that. It's like you never left.
And my name stayed.
You were the star. Process. I don't care. She was not on the show, and she was a topic. Threads every day, every day. How'd you feel about that? I mean, because you were on the show and you literally was a topic.
Well, everywhere. When I got eliminated, everyone felt like I was eliminated from the process, correct? But I wasn't eliminated from the friendships and the guys. I still kept in touch with people.
Right. Okay.
So, I'm getting a loop in on stuff, and I'm like, the T would come to me. I didn't have to call and do background checks and all that. People would just kind of tell me. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, dang, most of my bonds are happening after the fact that I'm eliminated. I really wish this happened during the process.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the way a lot of people have found relationships after the fact. things happen after the show. To me, some of the best stuff would happen after the show was over. But for you, I told you behind the scenes, I said this T was a star because she was in everybody's mouth even after the fact. Like they were mad that even though you weren't on the show, you still was a hot topic. I feel like people hated on that. You still was, whether they hated you or loved you. You was in every blogger's mouth. You was on every Instagram post. Something was said about T, even though you were off the show for episode after episode after episode.
Yeah, they even showed an episode where I didn't even know. And Sierra threw some little slight shade, making fun of my name, Tranquilla. I'm like, why is my name still being brought up on the show? And by the way, Marie's ex was beautiful. So to be compared to her, that was more than a compliment.
Very, very cute.
You are beautiful, mama. And it was a pleasure being compared to you.
Yes. Just wanted to say her name. Say my name.
Yeah,
say my
so
name.
I'm like, you're saying my name, and then, okay.
So what,
I don't know. I just felt like my name did.
But the whole thing with Sierra, where did it even come from? Like, I don't even understand.
So here's the thing. I was shocked because with Sierra, when I first seen Sierra, I'm like, yes, mama, you look good. I'm winking at her. I'm looking.
Right.
You're cute, girl. And she would wink back and smile. Yes. And we actually, you know what? I actually had a 5-minute conversation. She was like, girl, don't let these dudes fool you. We still, like, after I got a limp, like, when I was in the bottom, we sat on the couch and had a little brief conversation. I liked Sierra. I was like, oh, this girl is cool.
Good.
So after that, the next time I seen Sierra was at the brunch, and she looked beautiful. She had on a really pretty blue dress with this cute purse, and I was like, you look good, girl. She was
her fashion be everything.
Yeah, her fashion is on point.
It is.
And then we got in the women's lounge. So when she was chiming in with Janelle, I'm like, why are you coming at me so strong? I'm like, this is why I'm confused with Sierra. Because she was like, well, did you ask Phil about a threesome? I'm like, did you? Like, why are you coming at me? Like, why are you
That's very confusing.
Me?
Very confusing.
I'm like, what? We don't have beef, so what? Why are you coming at me so strong?
What's the tea?
And she was like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm very fine. Like, I'm just tired of y'all interrupting me and coming at me behind Habibi. Like,
right. What's the real issue?
Yeah, that was the real issue. So we had that little exchange in the women's lounge, and then I had a group date with her and Phil, which when I got there, I'm like, please don't let this be Phil. I really did say that. As you can see when I'm walking into the restaurant,
you did look like that. Like, oh my God.
I'm like, oh, here we go again. Because I kept telling production, why are y'all putting me and Phil on dates? We're not a connection. Like, we've made that clear from the beginning. Like, we were never a connection. So I don't understand why all 3-4 of my dates are with Phil. So when Sierra came in, the first time she came in, because we kept having to redo that scene like 3 times. She spoke, kind of gave me a little dry hike. Once I exchanged words the next day, like, I'm over it. Like, I don't hold on to stuff. Right. So I'm like, new day, whatever. New thing. So I'm like, hey, girl. And she was like, hey. She gave Phil a hug, and then she sat down. Cool. Okay. But then they made us redo the scene. So when she came in to redo it again, she gave me a hug, and I'm like, I'm good. So then we I'm like, you gave me a hug, but okay. Yeah, like, we good. Sis, like, I'm not tripping. So then she was the only one that didn't have food. Her food was coming in late. So I'm like, hey, you want some of this food? Because if I'm hungry, I know you hungry sitting here. So we all sharing food and we talking. I really did enjoy that date with them. And so they cued Phil to ask, so why do you think Tommy brought us here? And I was like, honestly, I think Tommy keep putting you and I on dates because
I remember
I feel like you're holding a grudge against me, Phil. Like, and he was like, no, that's not what it is. He was like, we're just not a connection. I said, we've already established that. But he was like, I do think you're good enough to date my son. And I'm like,
girl, Phil's something else. He is.
And at that moment, I smiled. Because in my head, I was like, I don't want to go there with him on camera.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, thank you. And that's what I said. I said, thank you.
I wouldn't know what to say, but yeah.
Because his son is 6 years old.
I don't even understand why he said that. What was the purpose of saying that?
Girl.
He was so different.
So when I did my one-on-one, my confessionals, they was like, yeah, Phil really did throw some shade at you with that son coming. Like, how did that make you feel? I said, I felt that way too, but I didn't want to think I was overreacting.
No, you were.
I was like, I thought it was a little disrespectful. But I didn't want to have that negative interaction. I want to tear our black men down on camera.
Yes.
So I said, that's why I just let it go. I say, but clearly this is why I feel an iron out of connection. So when I got eliminated, I was getting some calls throughout the process, and they was like, Phil said he was glad you got eliminated because you was the ugliest girl on the cast, and I was like, awful. Why is Phil study coming for me? Even like after the fact that I'm being eliminated, I was like, dang, and I was like, I don't know why he has this beef with you like that when he needs to be trying to get himself together, because he, on dates, sitting at the table, applying for job applications. Oh God. He done filed bankruptcy and this and this. And I said, hold up, Bill filed bankruptcy? And they was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, why is he filling out applications? And then the other person was like, yeah, because he was in the men's group chat asking people, do they know how to, who knows how to do a resume? And I'm like, so is Phil not working? It was like, I don't know. And I was like,
that time he ain't got no job.
I was like, so he talking about me. That's the second dig he done. Ain't no telling what else he been saying about me in this group. That's chat. Very true. I'm very known about everything. So I was like, okay, bet I'll just address him at the reunion. We never exchanged numbers, and I would have never seen him. And then, people were telling me that they were seeing Phil out and about on dates with white women and stuff. And I'm like, what is all this? Right. Like after filming, I'm like, okay, like this is, man, I was getting all the tea. Right. So when I got to the reunion, seeing Phil there, because when I got there, I saw Quentin, Red, and Habibi first. And then, which I didn't acknowledge Quentin. I'm not there to waste time. So walk in, Habibi walks in, and then I think Unique walks in after me, then Kira, we're all slowly walking in. So I'm sitting on the couch, and Maria comes and gives me a hug, which is very sweet. Me and Phil has yet to acknowledge each other. So in my head, I'm like, okay, he does have a feeling about me because he hasn't acknowledged me. And I can say and take accountability that I didn't make an effort to acknowledge Phil as well. But in my back of my head, I'm like, yeah, he did say that because I could tell by his behavior. Right. He I was the ugly girl. You can tell. Okay. I'll be that. Okay. So yeah. So while we sitting on the couch throughout the night, you can hear the men laughing and joking. Okay. Phil back there talking about, I eat coochie and blase blase, and I'm like, this is what was going on in my head. And this is what that's why I'm kind of like over people's perception, perspective, all the things. Okay. Because in my head, I'm like, so he ran with the narrative that I made him so uncomfortable about asking about a threesome, but you're openly in a room full of people. Wow. Talking about how you eat coochie and this and this and this and that. Ugh. You're that comfortable saying this in front of everybody. So I'm like, this literally, I'm about to get dragged when this show come out for asking a man about a threesome that made him uncomfortable. But he's back here joking about sexual stuff. I'm like, interesting. That made me mad. Like that's what got me. I was that's like, when you went on. Okay. That's why I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna definitely talk about this on stage. Okay. And that's why I went to him. That's where it came from. So what's up with you and Phil? I thought y'all was a connection. I'm like, we were never a connection. Okay. Because I made Phil uncomfortable, and Phil was he threw some digs on that couch. He did, but it didn't show it all. So, more than what he did, because he did what we saw. He did digs. So I was like, I done spared him so many times. I'm like, you talked about me off camera, but I want to make sure I do it on camera indirectly to you. Let's go. So when somebody disrespects me, I have no limit to how far I will go to disrespect. Like I meet disrespect where disrespect is. And so in that moment, I'm like, what came to my mind, I was like, oh, let me just clap back real quick. Sit him down. It was so smooth, like a lot. It was. I'm sorry. And so I was like, since I made you so uncomfortable, and I told Tommy, but he was back there just talking about eating coochie, and Tommy was like, what? He was like, well, I do. And he started laughing on the stage. I'm like, that's not funny. Right. It's not funny. Right. And I was like, he knew a producer. I told Phil on several occasions, like, that I was cued to ask those questions. So and I told you that, and he even said, "I'm sorry, I didn't know." And I'm like, "That's why I'm telling you." Like even so off camera, I tell, I'm like, I wouldn't have asked you that normally. I just didn't want to get eliminated by a producer for not following instructions. So that's when I said broke energy make me uncomfortable, because the information I was getting was that he was filling out applications. He's asking people to help him with a resume. So in my mind, I'm like, is Phil working?
Right.
Broke energy. The fact that you filed bankruptcy, baby, I didn't have to do no background check. I didn't have to do no research. I could care less.
Somebody came. You didn't see. She didn't look for
it. That's information that just came to me, and it wasn't in a malicious way. It was almost like he up here dragging you, but he needs to sleep around his own door. Like he need to get his stuff together. And that's when I said that. And in that moment, I could tell it made him mad. And I was like, I wanted to get my point. Like, don't play with me. Like,
yes,
I have not disrespected Phil or said anything about Phil throughout this whole negative process into the reunion.
Look, at the reunion, it seemed like, was that the because everyone felt like you was like just mad. So, but in the beginning, I saw you coming in laughing with Kira and having a good time.
I definitely had a good
time.
So
what switched it? Was it just the comment about the feathers? Because I said in the beginning, looked like a whole vibe. I'm watching from the very 5-10 minutes. Everybody was drinking. It looked like it was fun. And
it was very fun. I was on my second glass of wine by the time.
it just looked like you were that type of vibe, like back there drinking, we're talking, having a good time. It didn't look like he was all that. And then the feather comment happened, and then boom.
Janelle was the last person to come in. Everybody was in.
Okay.
Coming in and stuff, and she walks in, and I'm talking to Red, and then Kira was over there, and then Unique was on, and Unique just she gave me a pep talk. Her and Kira both, they was like, sis, you gonna come in here, you're not gonna let nobody get underneath your skin, like we're gonna kill them, what kind of today? I said, absolutely. Like we prayed and everything.
Love it.
So when I got in there, I instantly went over there, made me a glass of wine.
Okay.
Had a good conversation with Red. And then Janelle walks in, and she was like, who cheap ass feathers is this on the floor? And I said, and I did like that. And I'm like, just ignore it, Taquilla. Okay. Don't feed into it.
Okay.
So Kira was like, you're doing good. You're doing good. She was like over there like, you got doing good.
Right.
Just keep ignoring her. So by the end, when I got me another glass of wine, sat back down. Then I hear her, and like where we're sitting at now, Janelle is sitting at this table, standing there, making these comments, earshot to where I can hear it. So I'm like, okay, she's trying to push my button, but I said I wasn't gonna come in here and act this way with her. I'll kill her with kindness, because I actually was coming to apologize to her for standing up in the women's lounge. I was coming to make peace and make it right and take accountability for that.
Wow.
So then she started making comments, and Jessica was chiming in a little bit. So I'm looking at them. Looking, yes. And I'm rolling my eyes, and I'm like, see, this is what I just don't have time for. So when Sierra walked over there and Janelle said something else, they all three started laughing and was saying stuff. So by then I'm like, here we go again. That's why I was like, okay, I'm ready.
Like, what's going on?
Okay, I can make time today, since it's going to be 3 against 1. Let's go. Let's do it.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
And that's when I just got so mad, because I was like, I came in, like, why are they bothering me? Like, I'm not bothering anybody. Like,
just having a good time.
Was sitting on the
couch,
couch,
not doing nothing,
minding my business, and I just don't understand why people pick at me, especially when I'm just minding my business. Like, I'm sorry, I don't bother people. I don't play with people.
Right.
So if you constantly picking at me, that means you have an issue and you got beef.
Yes.
So it's just like, I'm gonna have to get you off me one way or another.
Yes. Yes.
So when that happened and I stood up and stuff, instantly 3-4 security bums rushed me, and I'm like, no, like, I'm tired of this. And I got so mad, like, I was like, I'm just going home. And I pushed the table. And so Unique came and talked to me. Love you, Unique. I really appreciated that. And we was just talking through it, and she was like, you did good, but you shouldn't have let her got the best of you, but it's okay, you tried. She was like, I seen you did. So when I came back in, I was getting another drink, and Lee comes up, and she was like, you okay? I was like, yes. Yeah. And she was like, you got to stop letting her trigger you. She was like, don't give her that. And I was like, thank you. Like, me and Lee have had so many conversations that weren't captured, but throughout the process, like, she was very supportive. Kira, Unique, Queens, and Lee, definitely held me down. Just having conversations with me. So even off camera and on camera. So
that's wonderful. I love
appreciated that. And so that happened right before I got on stage. So when y'all seen me rocking, it was right before I got on the stage. The executive producer came down and they was like, "Do not go on this stage and try to fight her with Tommy sitting up there. Please make a promise." I say, "I'm not making no promise." I say, because if she stand up and she act like she wants to hit me, I'm gonna defend myself.
Right.
And they was like, "Taquilla, I'm being serious with you. I need you to not get up out your seat." And they was like, "I'm not playing. Like, I need you to promise me." And I said, I took a deep breath.
Right. Like, I'm like, okay, man, I'll give you this. I'm one. Like,
I promise. Okay. So when I got up there, I'm sitting there, I'm like, let me just rock myself to keep calm, because that's what was getting me through. It was getting me through. I'm like, let me be calm. Right. Any wrong comment, it ain't no security up here.
Right. So oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I got you.
Ain't nobody gonna be able to jump in between.
Not fast enough. Not fast enough. Got you.
Uncle Tommy, you gonna get hit too. Look. Thank God Janelle was actually.
She was. They probably won't show it, but they probably told her behind the scenes. Quiet. They probably told her behind the scenes. Don't say nothing. Don't even say nothing.
She didn't get fly with me or nothing. She actually was like, she played the game like, I don't know why there's an issue with me and Taquilla. I actually like Taquilla, blase. And I saw like, that. Mm-hmm. So when Tammy was like, well, what's the issue? I said, y'all know what the issue is. I said, everybody on this cast has complained about that girl, but y'all allowed her to make it through this process acting the way she did. Of course, they weren't going to show that part.
Yes, of course not.
So, and I was like, and for that, there's no issue. We're good. And that's when I said, we're good. And that's when everybody was like, huh? Because I'm like, I'm not going to do this. I'm done.
Right. You're done with the whole thing.
I'm done faking this. Like, y'all know how this girl acts. So, there's no need for me to even get up here and just go into the detail when y'all already know. So,
wow. So at the reunion, everybody really wanted to hear from T. Like it was all over the internet. I was quiet because I knew we were gonna do this, but I just kind of But so I know you had an interview coming up that Friday. What happened when you did not do the reunion? What happened? You did not do that interview that night
with Crystal.
With Crystal. My bad.
So let's see.
And Crystal, by the way, she was spoken about herself on her channel. Y'all can see it. She spoke about how she wasn't happy or whatever about her not being on there. So I'm not speaking for Crystal, but I'm asking Taquilla why she didn't. She can answer for herself.
So when man, I had just been fighting with the public about like.
I will say this too. Before the reunion came on, Taquilla, she was quiet on the internet. You didn't really see her in comments. You didn't see her on anything.
Oh, I was in comments.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is it wasn't broadcast. If it was really crazy, and somebody like on the stuff about this, you didn't really see a whole lot about it. I felt like because she knew the reunion was coming up, she knew what was happening part 2, she kind of laid back a little bit. So then when this happened with Friday, when she didn't come on the interview, I ain't gonna lie, my DM was blowing up. Then I was like, I don't know what happened. I'm at work because I didn't know what was happening.
Okay. September 23rd, Crystal inboxes me at 9:22 and says, "Hey, lady, I'm just checking on you. I know you asked to be kept in prayer, and I definitely have been praying for you. I just wanted to make sure you are okay." I said, "Hey, Crystal, thank you so much for checking on me, just really being fair and supportive this season. I'm so disappointed in editing for how they keep highlighting me reacting to Janelle when I had plenty of dates and fun times. So now people are thinking I'm ghetto, I'm crazy, and all these unnecessary things. I'm human. Please respond." People respond when they are consistently being poked. But I'm learning. I have been in therapy and God is working on me, which I have been. So then September 24th, 10:58 a.m. Baby girl, this experience is all about you. It's not even about the people criticizing you. I know it hurts, but I promise you, you are going to emerge from this even stronger and more Taquilla. This experience was necessary for you to become the person you are destined to be. I wish I could show you how amazing this comes out for you. If you want to come on Friday after the first part of the reunion, we can do that.
Okay.
So I responded same day at 12:09. I receive all of this and let's do it. I actually want to pour everything out and be as real as raw, because I couldn't do it in my first interview with you because of how early in the season it was. To the extent that I'm willing to let everything be known, I can def do it on Friday, but I'll be limited depending on how much they show in part one and waiting to see part two. So I said, either way, I'll be ready to do it.
Okay.
So sent her my pictures and thumbnails and everything. So when the day when we got the assets to what was going to be shown, I was like, okay, they are going to show the whole thing, part with me and Phil.
Oh yeah, okay.
So when and I sent them to her because I was like, hold up, I'm trying to pull up this conversation. Gotcha. So that day, the day of the reunion, the first part, I sent her the episode because I knew we were gonna have a interview. I actually sent it to her that Wednesday. I was like, don't hate me, but I will explain. This was in response to some things that were said that you're not privy of. So I sent her the clips. So then Wednesday she said, I am never one to judge, lady. I'm open to you sharing your perspective, but a lady takes responsibility for her actions. None of us are perfect. Cool.
Okay.
So that morning I woke up. Once the clip started circulating on the internet, my phone was blowing up.
Okay.
From friends to family, my mother and grandmother were upset. They was like, why would you say that about somebody? Like,
oh, the Phil situation.
Yeah, she was like, why are you saying you do not tear a black man down? So they like,
everybody was coming at you.
Everybody was coming at me at once. Then a lot of stuff I had to get done at work. I was like, I should even went to work today because of how everything was changing. Yes. Then I started getting inboxes, and then I was told Janelle, Quentin, and Sierra had went live the night before. And the link was sent to me, and I was like, why is everybody campaigning against me?
Right. Wow.
Before the reunion.
Yes.
So, what date and time do you see?
That is September 29th at 12:26 p.m.
Good afternoon, Crystal. Hope you are well. Can you send me the questions you will be asking me so that I can be prepared?
Okay.
Let me tell you. When Habibi went on her interview, when Kira went on her interview, when you gave them questions in advance.
They did. She did. Okay.
You gave them questions. Okay. So what was different from me asking the questions? Plus, I wanted to know the outline of how she was going to go because I knew I wanted to address some stuff that she didn't know about. So I wanted to know what kind of questions she asked.
Got you. Nothing wrong with that.
So she said, hey, and
if you would have asked me, I did the same thing. I've been asked before. I've been asked by other people on other shows, and I've sent them the questions the day before.
Yeah.
I've done it many times. Never been a problem for me. It never has been. I've never been offended by it either. I get it. If it was me, I would want to know those questions.
I just want to know the outline of how the direction she was going to go with the interview. So then she said, hey, lady, I don't do questions in advance. Yes, you do, because you're giving it to those three people.
And she don't think you don't talk? That's so weird to me.
Very weird. Hey, lady, I don't do questions in advance because my conversations are natural and authentic. Okay. I think obvious questions are why you responded, the way you did with Phil, and of course with Janelle. Another question is what specifically caused you to suggest colorism played a role in production, etc. Now that we have seen the entire season, what happened that we didn't see? As I did last time, I will give you an opportunity to share your side.
Okay.
She sent that at 12:39. 12:47, I responded, okay, I woke up in this mellow space to where I'm considering canceling my interview. I'm not in bad spirits because I know the truth in this cast does too. No one is innocent. So if the world really thinks I would tear a black man down intentionally on TV without thinking something was said about me, then me speaking up won't change their perspective of me. Damn if I do. Damn if I don't.
Yeah.
So, LOL, keep it moving and not addressing this crazy editing may be the best choice.
Okay.
Okay. What time does it say?
12:54.
Crystal responds, I hope you won't cancel your interview, but instead just state your 100% truth and yes, keep it moving. So at 3:59, I'm like, okay, fine, I'm going to keep it. But then the calls, I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Because they kept on.
Yes. And then when I was listening to the interview of Janelle, I was just like, it was just overwhelming. It was. And I was like, I was crying. Like, I had a rough day that day. Like, it was a rough.
It was a lot.
I was stressed. And I'm just like, I knew this day was going to come.
Yes.
And, And I didn't never tell my family or friends. Like when it aired, I was like, I'll address it when it airs. Okay. But it hit me hard that day.
I bet.
So when she said that, I was like, okay, this is some stuff. I was like, I definitely want to address their comments, giving it to you. I'm sending her stuff so that
people are talking about it, right?
Well, no, to address in my interview.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
I'm sending her the link, and I'm saying, hey, I definitely want to address the comments from this live that Janelle, Sierra, and Q made about me. And I definitely want to address Sierra's comments that she's talking about me.
Everybody off, yes.
Sierra came for me first. Never had an issue with Sierra, so I wanted to address that. So I provided screenshots to align with how I'm going to tell this story.
That's being smart.
Yes, I'm just giving her everything ahead of time.
Right, before the interview.
She says at 4:24, got it. Here's the link. She said, I'll put these in my video for tonight. And I said, okay, can you send me the link for the viewers at 4:25 as well? She put, here it is. My interview with Crystal wasn't until 9 o'clock that night.
Okay.
We've been talking since 12 this afternoon.
Okay, the whole time. Yeah, the whole day.
So I'm letting her know, hey, I'm considering counseling.
Okay.
4:38. Right now, my mental is at an all-time high right now. It was. I had a bad day. I broke down the Reddit Love Facebook. That's when Lex had to shut the face down because they were just coming at me hardcore about that clip. And so she had to pause the group, and it was awful. And then to see that Quentin, Janelle, and Sierra did a live on me last night as well as campaigned against me. And I have to deal with the clip circulating. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And since it's a part 2, I don't want to have to discuss it again. So can we please talk about it after the second episode?
Don't get everything
I'm
all
really
done.
tired, but this is heavy on me right now. I texted her at 4:38. What time is that?
This is 5. I'm sorry. This is 8:49 p.m. Okay. 10 minutes to 9.
There are people on the live that are waiting to hear from you. At this point, you don't respect that I just said, can we do it after the second interview? And she responded, what did she says?
Oh, if I tell you don't counsel, it definitely won't look good. Let me start by saying real quick, mental health is really important to me. And she knows that. We talked about this. Not knowing me, knowing my in this stuff. Mental health is very, very important to me. I would constantly just hit her up just to say, you're okay.
Yes.
Now I'm a blogger, and I do this. But because of what I was seeing online, in my mind, I'm thinking, that's got to be a lot. So me like saying, what's going on, you okay? It wasn't about no interview. I knew it was going to happen regardless. I wasn't worried about that. I was concerned because mentally, that is a lot to put on one person. All the things people say in the comments, the Facebook thing, all that mess, it's a lot. And so to me, the priority should have been mental health. That first message she said, hey, right now it's not a lot. That's all I would have needed to hear. I would have been like saying, oh, it ain't going to look good. Girl, people waiting for you. I wouldn't have said any of that. That's just like trying to say, I don't care about that. My life's going to go on in 5 minutes. They're waiting for you. Can you come on? That's my opinion.
So she got on there. She said, if I tell them you counseled it definitely won't look good for you. So you telling me you praying for me in my inbox.
Interesting.
And then I'm communicating with you throughout the day, telling you how I'm feeling this day. And then you go on your channel and you drag me.
She did.
As if I stood you up.
I didn't watch all of it. I saw people send me clips of it. She was dragging her.
As if I stood her up, and I'm like, I didn't. And people was texting me like, you really stood Crystal up? I'm like, I've been communicating with Crystal since 12:28 this afternoon.
I'm happy she's saying this. That's the narrative.
So I was like, no, Crystal just needed me. She wanted to do the interview that night.
Yes.
She knew her ratings would be high.
Yep.
And I felt like she didn't give a damn about my mental health that day. And so she didn't respect that I said, hey, can we reschedule to the second episode? Right. And instead she goes and uploads my text messages. She paints a picture.
Wait a minute. I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
She uploaded our text conversation. Something I'm just really being vulnerable with her about. It's nothing to be ashamed of. She uploaded she spoke it out because I'm just like, hey, it's my mental is not in the right space right now. So for her to, read aloud and then her sidekick Mo states his opinion. I'm like, never heard of you, but okay.
I'm sorry, that's the first time I saw him on there. I had to ask my.
I was disappointed in Crystal. I really was, because I'm like, you're doing what I did to feel. You're doing what you're doing to me what I did to Phil. Mm-hmm. You downplayed my mental health. Mm-hmm. I downplayed his bankruptcy.
And y'all know I laugh. I'm sorry, I can't help
it. I will take accountability. I was wrong for saying that about Phil. I'm not gonna apologize to Phil because me and Phil have been in the same place a couple of times, even after the reunion.
And still nothing was said.
Nothing was said. We walked past each other. And that's okay. I have no issue with us walking past each other, not saying anything. So I feel like it wouldn't be authentic or it wouldn't be genuine for me to apologize now when I could have apologized.
Right. You're being real.
No, I meant what I said, but it was what I said and how I said it, and it was not good timing.
The delivery.
And I shouldn't have said it. So I will take ownership. I have no problem taking ownership that I was dead wrong for saying it at that time on camera to Phil about his bankruptcy issue.
Yes, I will say that. I wish you would have said it behind the scenes.
My mama's still mad at me.
But the build up of everything that happened, I don't know what he would have said to you behind the scenes. It probably
let's talk about that.
It'd been worse. I feel like
so after the scene, everybody's Chris is getting a lot of backlash from how he responded to Jessica. Though, of course, after we get off the stage and we walk back to the green room, Unique is sitting right here on the couch. I'm sitting in a chair. Phil's sitting behind me, and he's livid. He's mad. He's brushing up. He's cussing. He's real mad, calling me bitches. And
Phil
calling me,
because of
you would have thought security needs to be back the other way. Phil was so mad at me. I understand it because my people was like, if I was him too, I would have been mad at you too. I would have probably called you a bitch too. So they was like, you was wrong for that. My people hold me accountable.
Only Louisiana family will be like that.
We're gonna hold you accountable. So that wasn't the issue.
Right.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, Phil, like it is what it is. You talked your mess to me. So me and him going at it.
Oh my God, right.
And so it was to the point it got so bad, like everybody was in here watching. Ain't nobody say nothing. It took Red to stand up and say, look, at the end of the day, this still a woman.
Right.
Don't talk to her. Don't call her out her name. Like, chill out. And you got activist Marie, who's for,
fight the power,
uplifting our Black beautiful queens, and
all the things,
all those things. And you didn't stand up. I wasn't expecting Quentin to say nothing, but nobody around said anything but Red. Much respect to Red.
Damn. I mean, I get Phil being mad too. I get all that, but
the only thing was it wasn't shown.
I wish that would have shown.
So if we gonna hold Chris accountable, we need to hold Phil accountable.
Wow. So speaking of the Chris and Chris, I love you, my boy. We already had a discussion with my brother. But how did you feel sitting there? Well, not sitting there, watching it with us. I know for you guys, when scenes are shown, is y'all watching for the first time. People think it's something like y'all watching it. Y'all was in the edit room, like, oh, that's y'all show. Y'all don't know what they're gonna show. So when you're sitting there watching the whole Jessica and him, and we all know it was heavily edited, we all know that, and that's your boy. He's my boy too. But still, showing that part, what was your reaction watching that? Like,
so I didn't know that happened.
Oh wow! Because you already gone by the time.
Yes.
Okay.
So at the reunion, we saw a clip, and that moment, I'm like, whoa, this may come off the wrong way.
Okay.
The experience I have gotten from Chris always is red carpet queen treatment.
Yeah, he is like
Talk
that.
to me respectfully, addresses me as queen, beautiful. I don't have to lift or touch anything when I'm with Chris.
I believe that.
And me and Chris had good conversations. Like, we bonded over like him and his nieces, me and my nieces, his daughter. He lived in Shreveport for 5 years. Like, me and Chris has talked about, we have had deep conversations. Like, I've asked him about his Nigerian background, all that.
Right.
So I've never seen that side of Chris. So when I saw it, my thing was, I know how Jessica can come off.
Okay.
I was like, what did Jessica say or do to get that reaction out of Chris?
Right.
So when I seen it, after I called Chris, I was like, you wrong. I'm going to hold you accountable. You wrong. You owe her an apology. But what happened, so I can know how we can help you get through this.
Okay.
Because this, I say, you're gonna get backlash. Like, they're gonna come for you. This is not gonna be good for you.
Right.
He was like, I know I've apologized. I was like, he still wouldn't even really go into too much detail about it. So I was like, well, whatever support you need, just let me know. Because at the end of the day, you're still a good guy.
Yes.
We're all human. We make mistakes.
I love this.
So I want to make sure that, we level this thing out. And so, yeah, I love Chris. One of my, we're still good friends.
I love Mr. Chris. He speaks about you such a free way he does.
Yes.
In my interview, he talked about you such a.
I love
like a
him.
Queen. Yes.
Yeah. Anytime me and Chris together, we laughing. We laughing, we joking, we having fun, we catching up. Like, I truly enjoy him. I love him.
So that I love how you had the conversation, like a
unique or not, both. We was like,
yeah,
Chris,
both did.
We was like, Chris, hold up. Let me holler at you.
Right.
What the hell was you? Why did you do that?
I know some would say it. No one just does that out the blue, but we'll leave that. Like I'm gonna respect Chris. It was, he just do that out of nowhere. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. So for you, after the reunion was over with, what was your takeaways from this whole entire season? Because at the end of the day, you have to go back to your real life. You're still dating. You're still in Dallas. So after all that mess and all your family, all the weighing in to Taquilla, how do you feel after this all over?
A lot of the cast kept making comments like, she ought to be embarrassed. Her family ought to be embarrassed. I just want to make one thing clear. I wasn't embarrassed. My mom wasn't embarrassed. My dad, none of my family, my friends, because I don't act like that on a daily basis. So they knew people had to been doing something to me to get a reaction out of me. Just because I reacted in that way doesn't mean my morals and values went away. It doesn't change the way my mother and dad parented me, because they taught me to do the right thing and to treat people how I want to be treated. But they was like, you stood up for yourself. They were more mad about the field situation than me reacting to, bullying
I can see
that
that
stuff. So they really still on me about
that. Right. No, I can see that. I can see that.
So I think coming through this process, it was an experience. It was definitely a lot of ups and downs, but what I got through this, what I'm appreciating from being on Ready to Love is I'm in my daily bread moments. So I walked away with sisterhood and friendships. I didn't walk away with a relationship. So I was appreciative of that. I was appreciative of the fact that I was vulnerable and I showed up as my authentic self. Yes. So I learned that you're not gonna be for everybody, and that's okay. Yeah. But it's my anger that I need to work on. Okay. So I'm doing the things I need to do. But I don't hang around people that would even bring that side of me out. All my friends are married and older. So when I seen that, they was like, I just can't believe you went on TV acting like we've never seen you. Even my coworkers, they was like, yeah, we knew that had to be a reality TV. Right. They was like, I've been working with my coworkers for 7 years. We've done happy hours. We've been around each other on holidays. Right. Outside of work. Like,
the best, the worst times, all of it.
Up and down. So they've seen me.
Yes.
I'm comfortable being myself at work. So when they seen it, they was like, I'm glad it's over because we don't want to see that side of you again. So they didn't judge me. They was just like, we understood like certain people trigger different things. So it's okay. But so as of right now, also I have to protect me more. I have to protect my feelings. I have to protect
say it again.
Opening up to people and my expectations of people. Yeah. Because I may show people love and I come to them with good intentions and a good heart, and just I operate from a place of joy and fellowship and sisterhood.
Right.
And just loving my neighbor as my true self. So, but not everybody's gonna be that same towards me. So don't change who I am for anybody. I'm okay with wearing my emotions on my sleeve. But one thing I do take that I'm proud of myself is people, like even my castmates, like dragging me for reacting the way I did. But I'm like, y'all would do it off camera. The thing is, I didn't mind doing it off camera. or off camera.
But you were genuine.
Yeah. There's no gray area with me. It's black or white.
Right.
And that's why I'm not embarrassed by how I reacted, because I'm being who I am. Y'all gonna cut up and clap and pull and fight and all that off camera.
Yes,
what you see is what you get with me. So I came to as my real self, and no, I'm not embarrassed. She
shouldn't be embarrassed, because like I said, I did the other day. I'm just gonna tell you that honestly, the thing about it so frustrating. I said it's on my show. I said to her, I said to other people in my life, even my mama. What she did on camera is nothing compared to what any of us done in a Starbucks, in a Walmart. I'm just keeping it real.
Exactly. And like y'all got cousins.
Come on now.
You have family members. And it's like, if we, people are, oh, she need to heal, she need therapy. Okay, y'all need to heal from PPP loan fraud. Y'all need to heal from food stamp fraud. Like, go ahead and tell that child that that's not his real daddy. Like it's a whole list I can go down, but y'all want to pinpoint and assess me, and y'all don't even know nothing about me. Like, who I am on TV is not who I am in my every day-to-day life. I don't have to.
She doesn't
act a fool with people because I don't put myself in situations or I'll go places that will cause me to act like that. So,
and not everybody gonna be there poking at her like
yes, and I reacted the way I did. I had an issue mainly because Janelle wasn't being held accountable by production. So it's like the one time I clap back at her, I get eliminated, but she got to poke all the way to the end with no repercussions or nothing.
Would you ever have a conversation with her, even now to this day?
No. It would be pointless. Okay. And I see a lot of people saying Janelle and I are the same. Janelle and I are not.
People are saying
the one thing I can say Janelle and I are the same is we both are emotional abusers when we're angry.
Okay.
We will go for the gutter when we mad. We don't care what we say or do. The depths. Like,
yes.
We're the same when it comes to having anger issues or like how we respond emotionally. But I am a very friendly, open, welcoming person. I'm a girl's girl. Yep. Yeah, that's not Janelle.
Not at all. You know how she talks.
So I'm sorry. I hate to say it, guys, but we are not the same.
This was a wonderful conversation, a very real conversation with Taquilla. It was an honor to have her on my channel. It was worth the wait. I didn't mind waiting for it. When the job that I do, I have a passion for it. It's not about quick. It's not about that. This was a great interview, and I knew it was going to be. So I wasn't in a hurry to do it.
Yeah.
Her mental health.
Thank you for respecting me.
Her mental health was more important to me.
Yes.
Just all really truly, even what I don't like, if a person comes to me as a cast member about like let's wait or whatever, my mental, I'm gonna automatically. Mental health was so important to me. Black people do not take it seriously, which is very frustrating.
Upon in the Black community.
It is. Unfortunately, church is not going to help. Praying for you and grandmama and nana praying for you is not going to help you if mentally you're going through it because of your job or because someone online is in your group chat or whatever it is. It's just not going to help. So I stress this a lot. Please check on your friends and family and mental health. If someone is telling you that mentally they're struggling, listen to what they're saying. It's so important to me. Please. Anything you want to say, Mama, before we get up out of here?
I love y'all. Thank y'all for riding with me.
And she's cute as a button. Hold on. Are you still single?
I am dating.
I love that because Dallas is trash. Dallas is trash. I'm not dating for that reason.
I'm dating.
All right, y'all. That being said, we out of here. Hopefully, I have Taquilla come on my panel to talk about this new show or something in the future.
Absolutely.
And we got season 2 of the whatever coming up. So I'm gonna have my girls come back on. My girl meaning Unique, her, and Kira. Okay. Of course, Lee. Y'all know I love some Lee too and Leanne. But anyway.
Some Lee too.
All right, y'all. We out of here.